Hello then everyone and welcome. This is the fifth audio blog from swindongrounds.com. My name's Chris Watts. Quite a bit to talk about actually in this blog. Obviously the main thing being the Easter Bunny Bag Sis series that starts on Monday at Swindon, obviously on the bags. There's two heats of each distance over sprint, stayers and the standard, and they go on then to a final on Friday. The format works that each heat, there's two heats. Three greyhounds go through from each heat and obviously contest in the final on Friday. The final on Friday, the first two in each final then proceed on to the grand final, which is on Good Friday, which is what every track is running heats and finals for, and they all come to Swindon. And I don't think it's worked out all that well, I will be honest. I think the problem with the series, in my mind, is there's no incentive for the track to send their trainers down. When you think back to the inter-track competition, there was a good lot of prize money available for the trainers for their greyhounds to run, and good run money and that sort of thing. But also there was that little incentive for the tracks as well, knowing that they would receive X amount of prize money for getting into the final and that sort of thing. So I just don't think this has got that feel about it. Again, it's cracking money, and for those involved, I hope you do very well. When you think about it, there's £200 to the winner for the heat. There's £350 to the winner for the big final. And then on the grand final day, I think is it £500 or £750 to the winner. So if you win heat, final, and final, that's a lot of prize money. So it's good. It's good for the dogs involved, and it's something a bit different. But it hasn't quite got the flair about it that the inter-track competition had. I do hope they renew that at the end of the year. But in any event, we start off, and I'll run through all these heats and give you my sort of views on it. Is the sprint. Now, the sprinting division that Swindon has really kicked off quite well, and I do enjoy the sprints. I don't like to see too many of them, and in terms of open racing, I never bet them because they're just how to bet really. But again, the same thing I think has arisen at most tracks. The problem is translating the 480 quick away dogs to sprinting. Some of the typically fast away dogs aren't true sprinters. I think a key case for me is Booze Aroma in Trap 4. Now, she has always been a ping-on, always led bitch, all the time. She graded on into a sprint, into a D1, and she led and then just died to death. Because she's not a true sprinter. She's a very good early pace 4-bend bitch, don't get me wrong, and she's won her plenty, and she's a cracking girl, but she's not a sprinter. But in any event, this first heat one, I've tipped up many moons ago for Matt Dartnell in the red. It ran in a D1 on the 10th of March, and I thought it ran very well actually. I've got a good show of early, obviously, in this sprint, but just got crowded out a little bit off the second bend, and the time is something that's funny. I must admit, if you speak to a lot of the Swindon regulars, they'll tell you that the times are a little bit all over the joint. I must admit with sprints, but I think this dog of Matt Dartnell's is very much capable in this race, as is Brookend Merlin, I feel, in Trap 2. Again, I've always really seen this dog as a sprinter. It showed good early in the graded A5s, A6s back in the day, but really is a sprinter and took off really well back on the 25th of Feb now. So and Trap 5's one to look out for as well. Calling Top, another cracking sprinter, but also a big player will be Trap 6, I think, Droopy's Tristan. I was expecting a lot from this in the sprints, I must admit. Showed good pace in the, again, like I've said before, showed good pace in the 480, but hasn't quite translated it into the sprinting yet. Hopefully he can find his footing, but I'm going for many moons ago in this first heat. I think he'll might be a bit short though. I must admit that's the one thing I've found with these Easter Bunny races everywhere. There has been a lot of short price jollies going off that are winning by 8-10 lengths, that sort of thing. It's not a good one for the bookmakers, I must admit. But and the second heat of the sprint, I'm going for Turnpike Indy again in the red. I think that it can translate into sprint form, and I think she could be a little open race sprinter. again, is always one that's picked up in 480s, always one that pings. Again, hasn't quite translated to sprinting, but in any event, I think she can go well. I think out of the two sprints, this is probably the hottest one. I think, and this isn't my big up to the grader, this isn't my wanting my job kept and all this, but I think Clive's done a good job here of not bunging all the eggs in one basket. He split up the really good sprinters, I think, so we could have a cracking final. I know that Headford Lady can sprint very well, as can Flagstaff Law. It's a lot of railers, but I think they can go really well in the sprint. So, but my pick in this one again is Turnpike Indy. So we move on to, I believe it's the 480 or the Stayers. It's the Stayers now, 685. Again, funny one, but again, I think the best ones have been kept apart. I think Bottoms Maldini has got a lot of potential over the trip. I was quite impressed with his trial because he did lead around, but then he did really. I mean, I'm reading off the comments, you might think, but he did really run on strongly towards the finish, and I was quite chuffed. I must admit, he's still a baby, but he's got a lot of potential over the trip. Definitely. But I mean, the class act for me in this one is Noel's Touch in the 3. His record speaks for himself. I think he's like sort of got a 27% strike rate or something like that. Absolutely phenomenal win rate, for a dog. Credit where credit's due, and I think he's a class above here. For the places, Romeo Cerruti has always been one for this Stayers trip. He prefers the slop though, I'll be honest. He would prefer slow going. If it is chucking down on Monday, it might be worth a couple of pennies, but I think Noel's Touch is a sort of even money shot in this for me. And the second heat is a very hot heat actually, very hot. Commander Tom really impressed for me in his trial. He took to the trip really well. I think he's got staying form in Ireland. I haven't got that in front of me, but I believe this is where his future lies really over the Stayers trip, and being 41.82, you can't be moaning at that at all. Brilliant time. There's a couple of youngsters in here who have got a lot of potential. I think you look at Droopy's Harper first of all. Now his breeding. Westmead Hawk Droopy Seville actually through Centurion Henry, who runs for Paul Young if you're a regular open race viewer. And the damn Droopy Seville has thrown a lot of half decent dogs, Taylor's Riviera I believe, and that sort, a lot of stayer types. So you've got to think that Droopy's Harper future really would be over the Stayers trip. He's a lovely looking dog as well, and I think this race is too hot for him, but it's certainly one to look out for in the future as he grows up a little bit. Crinkle Jewel, I've mentioned this before about going into this competition. I think has again potential over the trip. Does seem to find trouble wherever she can, mind. Wherever there's a bit of crowding, I think she's involved. It's again massive potential, but not really showing it. I mean, she won an A2, but there's nothing to write home about that really. She should be better than what she's showing. And a big player would be Wonko Jewel. I love this bitch's style of running. She wangs out, and sort of keeps to that pace all the way around, and then sort of goes again. Absolutely brilliant. I think she'd be good over a marathon. I'd love to see her over 750 Romford and further actually, just to see what she'd do really. But in this race, I'm going for Commander Tom. I think the trial time alone is very good, and I think the performance in general was excellent. There's a lot of good dogs in this race, though. I wouldn't want to count any of them out really, but it's sort of like what you expect to see in the final, if you know what I mean. It's a good race, but no, Commander Tom for me. So we go on to the standard then. Now these a couple of cracking races. Quivers Jumeirah I'm going to come on to later. I'm talking about pups and that sort of thing. I will just say I don't think quite up to this level yet, but certainly a big player. In this I've gone for, it's a tie actually, a bit of a tie up here. I think Case to Blame is a massive player, really do. Just the early pace she showed before I believe she was in season and that sort of thing. Before she had a problems and a bit of lameness and everything, she was really showing to be a good, strong candidate for Swindon. And I know she was considered for the Intertrack before she was rested up and that sort of thing. So I don't think she trialled back particularly well and was kept off. But the McDowell camp have done a terrific job on her, and the last run was impressive. It was a pin-gone performance, and it's what she can do. She can do it very well as well. And she's still very young. She's had quite a bit of running for a youngster, but again, a genuine sort of open race contender later on in her life. I think. She has sort of got it to do, really. I mean, obviously you've got Sligo Mick in the six, who really is an open race dog, in my opinion. Has the form to back it up. Is capable of a pin-gone break, and that'll do. I think he's a 28.70 dog on his day. He's being brought on quite slowly, and credit where credit's due once again. Armel Player, again, a massive player in quote the name again. I think I've done that before. In Trap 5, hasn't quite got the draw. I don't think. I think sort of Quivers Jamira might cause him problems on the run up. But nevertheless, I'm going for Case to blame in this race. I think she can ping out and lead all the way. Expect Cleaners Louise and Sligo Mick to be there or thereabouts as well. And the final heat again is a bit of a mishmash, really, of all sorts. There's a lot of improving dogs in this race. A lot of improving dogs. The first thing I noticed was Riverdale Spiros in 2 needs the red urgently. I don't think he wants to at all. Hopefully the one dog's slow away enough so that Spiros can get onto the rail. Doro Fantasy isn't one to be sniffed at in the 1. I think, again, a lot of improvement to come. Forrest Ronaldo, again, I keep saying it, but there's improvement to come. He's still a baby. I said that in a very Australian accent, my apologies. No, still a youngster. Again, I don't think up to this level yet. Clongill All-Star is the big contender in this one for me. I must admit, a few runs ago, I was starting to have my suspicions about the dog because he just wasn't putting in the performances he was capable of at all. He should be, again, I keep saying it, an open race contender, this dog. He fired well in his last run. He can go quicker, I think. He's a sort of 28.80 dog on his day, and given a good run in this race, the problem is, however, there's a lot of early pace. You've got 5-dog Matty's mate. Brilliant improver, by the way, for John Peterson. Well done to the camp there. They've really brought him on, and the run last time was very impressive. He's still a June 10. How much potential has he got? But again, asking so much from puppies in this sort of competition is a bit much, and don't expect to put earth from them. But nevertheless, but no, for this one, I'm going for Clongill All Star, giving a clear run with Riverdale Spiros in behind. Just a quick note then, regards I was talking about the pups. I was writing I did a written blog for the first time in a little while. That was quite hard to fathom out. I had to type again. It's brilliant to see the pups doing so well actually over the weekend. I thought I'd give a quick shout. Obviously the Swift J pups, I think all 3 that are graded on, bar Law Together won. Cracking performances, really. I mean, to be doing 29:30 sort of times, I mean we take it for granted, but doing it for September 10 babies is phenomenal. And sky's the limit with them. And the same again for the Alan McDowell Sopham puppies. Ain't I Lush was particularly impressive on the bags, won by 7 lengths. Impressive run. They've got a good racing brain, those pups. They've really got a good strong brain, and they're not afraid of a battle, which I like to see. They're not wimps. So, but a standout for me, and it sort of got under the radar, is this Quivers Jamira. I was actually on the Hare Friday bags, and this pup really impressed me. Just the way his pace along the back straight, he was phenomenal. And actually across the line, I thought, well, that's a 28 run. For a June 10, you've got to remember these aren't even 2 yet. They're flying, and I think Swindon has a big future. We've got, with these sort of pups running for us, we've got a massive future in terms of our open race candidates, our top grade dogs, and credit to the owners, credit to the trainers, credit to everyone involved. I know it's a big ask to get pups to the track, and even to get them chasing's a massive deal. So again, thank you guys, well done. It's brilliant to see. Love seeing the pups run. It's absolutely fab. What else was I going to say? Oh yes, the Swindon special. I've actually got that ready to write up. We're doing it about British breeding. I've spoken to Malk Arnold, who and Jill Filer. They bred the Sopham pups. Obviously she's had 2 litters now, and I've spoken to Lee Robson and Pat Robson and the Robson family about the Swift J pups. So I'm hoping that we can get a good little piece written up for you with all regards to British breeding, what goes on, what happens, all that sort of thing. If you're interested in that sort of thing, so look in the next week or so, and that article will be written up when I get time away from the degree work. But this is this audio blog anyway. If you wish to ask me anything, obviously you can speak to me at the track. You can email swindongreyhound@gmail.com. You can tweet us at Swindon Racing, or contact us on Facebook, or however you want to do it. Just feel free to ask any questions and all that sort of thing. But thank you very much for listening, and I'll talk to you soon. See you later.